Yo guys, I don't know if this is Yo guys, what is up? It is Captain C. Welcome back. It is great to be back. It has been a hot minute. Well, actually, since I've done a Madden video. Um, but first, see, it feels like I'm like I know I have live streamed on this channel. But I haven't done it from my dad's house. I mean, from my mom's house in a while. So it seems like this whole entire like it feels different, you know. So, but I'm still trying to find a job. Um, on I'm probably going to say on Monday, I'm going to be making several calls. Um, I'm going to call two USPS locations because it has been since I sent the application. What day is it? It's the 26th. So let's see here. Friday to Saturday, Saturday to Sunday, Sunday to Monday. So I'm calling them in 3 days. So that's going to be 27, 28, 29th. So on the 29th, wow. 15, 25. Wow, that's almost 2 weeks later that I call. And then because I sent two applications to two different postal service locations. One on the 15th and one on the 17th, and I have not heard back from either one of them. So I'm going to call. So I am going to call those, and I'm gonna call them, and I'm gonna be like, hey, so my name is Curtis Harper. I applied on the 15th. I just want to show my interest and see if I don't know, something along those lines. I've made those calls before, but um, because that would be amazing if I could get into the postal service. I would be getting benefits. I would be getting a decent pay. I would be it would be great. Um, the third call that I would make would be for Costco because um I had one day. My last day, it could be two different things you could think. On December 31st was my last day. Um, I think it's December 31st. It might be December 30th. I don't know if I had New Year's Eve off and New Year's Day or just New Year's Day. I think it was December 31st. But I did come in on one day in January. They brought me in. Um, but I mean, Costco was a pretty good gig. I mean, I'll never forget it because I was working at Jewel for $10 an hour, and then suddenly I go to Costco and I make it $17 an hour. It was $15 an hour, and then COVID pay, which was $2 an hour, because Jewel stopped their COVID pay. Then Jewel stopped their COVID pay. But I mean, I've told you guys that story quite a bit, but yeah, because they told me that Costco normally brings their seasonals back between 2 to 3 months. That's basically what I got out of it. And if we're thinking January 1st to February 1st, February 1st to March 1st, and then March 1st to April 1st. So we're coming up at the 3 month mark. or December 31st or January 1st, whatever you want to call it. So, um, so yeah, I have not made that call yet. I've been thinking about it, but what they told me when I was asking around was that they call you. That's like you could call them and be like, hey, um, or so yeah. So I don't know. Um, but let's see here. I've I don't know. I was working over at Mariano's. I quit that job. No regrets there. Now I went over to Jewel. I tried to get my old job back in produce, but that manager hates me. I talked to the general manager, great guy, great guy, and but it looks like there's a chance that I might be closing up Meat Market. Um, uh, what I'm probably going to do, worst case scenario, I'm going to apply for the produce in the town where my mom lives. Um, uh, I don't know. I don't know. But let's see here. I actually went into Mariano's today to pick up my check, which was actually pretty nice because because I was like, man, I'm kind of, there's been money going out of my bank account, but nothing is coming in. Uh, which I was actually pretty, what you call it, I am pretty proud of myself for how much money that I saved. And I bought Christmas presents. I don't know how I did it. Um, but I left Costco, first of all, buying Christmas gifts for everybody, which was, I want to say, I probably spent between $500 to $900 on Christmas presents. It's been a while, so I can't remember exactly how much. I think it was more near between 6 to 800, or I don't know. Let's just say between $500 to $900. Um, and I left with having $1,000 in my Chase account, $1,000 in my PayPal account, and $1,000 in my Robinhood account. Um, so I mean, and I've been living off of that for a while, and then working at Mariano's, even though it was a short time away, it did help, kind of, to help me last. So, but um, but I still don't have a job on my hands. So what I'm probably going to do, if the post office doesn't work, if Costco was like, yeah, we don't need anybody, or they're like, uh, when seasonal comes in around, we might give you a call, and it's like, damn. But actually, I mean, seasonals, I mean, that's a great opportunity. I mean, if you don't have a job, or if you have a job that you're not a big fan of, at seasonal time, like go out. I mean, September to December, or to January, you can say. And I've said this before. If you want a job, perfect time, seasonal time, and go all out. If you're leaving a job, and you're like, okay, you know what? I might be jobless in January, but that's fine because I'm going to go all out and I'm going to get 2 jobs and I'm going to work from like literally all day. You can do 6 to 2 at one job, for retail, make $15 an hour, and then you can work another job in retail and work 3 p.m. to say maybe 9 p.m. or something like that, or 3 p.m. to, or maybe 2:30 to 11, whatever it is. But just go all out. And then, you know what? When January comes and you saved up all this money, you saved up all this money, and you're like, okay, you know what? Okay, you know what? I worked my ass off September, October, November, December. All right, for 4 months, I saved up some money. All right, I'm going to find another job, but I'm not panicking, so. But yeah, but anyways, I picked up my checks. I had 2 checks and I cashed them at Mariano's, but man, dude, I did not want to run into anybody because it's just I didn't leave on the best note. Because I didn't leave a 2 week notice, and I left a 2 week notice for Jewel, even though they screwed me over like you cannot believe. But it's just I didn't want to. I mean, I wasn't there very long. If I put in my 2 week notice and I'm still working with all these people, it would have been like it just wouldn't have been very good at all. So but I was going in to pick up my check because I guess direct deposit wasn't, like, I was still too new for that. I don't know. But dude, did a light turn on over there? Oh, the laundry maybe? Hey, Brody. I'm live streaming. But yeah, when I walked into Mariano's, I'm like, okay, I really don't want to run into anybody. And of course, I put on this mask that everybody would recognize me because I had this Pizza Planet red mask on, and I was the only person in that store, probably in this town, that would wear this Pizza Planet mask, and I have other masks I could wear, but no, I'm gonna wear this red Pizza Planet mask. But and I walk over to pick up my check, and I'm like, okay, hopefully I don't recognize anybody. Then this guy walks up who worked in the department that I worked, and I'm like, and I look over and I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, hey, and he's like, oh, hey, how's it going? And we had a conversation, and it wasn't bad, and I said straight up, how was everybody, um, is anybody mad or whatever because I didn't leave on a 2 week notice? And he said, no, nobody blames you for leaving. Just I do recommend next time you leave a 2 week notice to be a little bit more professional. Which was a low key roast, I think. But he's saying, well, if you want to leave them as a reference, you should. And I understood that. It's just I wasn't there long enough, and I didn't have to leave them as a reference. So I'm like, okay. And he asked me, does your stomach hurt, Brody, or something, or are you stretching?
I'm stretching.
Stretching, yeah.
Just mean you talk instead of actually playing a game, which probably what your last year was supposed to be about.
Yeah. But anyways, I do this often in a little bit, but just talking. But
So you tell people about your life even
yes, that's exactly what I do on here.
even though you're supposed to be playing video games.
But shoot, what was I gonna say?
This is
But
sad. This is sad.
I'm trying to think where I left off.
It's weird that you're telling random people about your life and like almost nobody cares to watch.
Yep. It makes me feel better just getting it out.
Yeah, whatever.
But But yeah, so but yeah, he actually asked the so what's your new job if you don't mind me asking, and Brody is probably like and he's still going. Like, Brody leave. Just seeing Brody leave, but he asked me, about my new job, and I told him similar to what I told his boss, my old bossy, that I found a new job, weekends off, and I told him a government job, and he was asking about the location or whatever, which actually I didn't get that job. I was trying for that job, but I ended up not getting it. But I told him, oh yeah, and I told him, it's actually it's not as good as that I'm saying. It's a maintenance job, or it's actually a custodial job. But I told him I clean courtrooms and things like that, and but it's a little bit better. I get weekends off, and I get paid a little bit more, and it wasn't a bad conversation. But he said everybody would love to know where you left for, basically what he was saying, just to kind, and I understand that coworker feel, just to tell everybody, what Curtis is up to. It's kind of, if you think about it, it is normal. Um, if you've been in a work environment, and then you would understand. And then I ventured over because I wanted to actually get something real quick, some Coca-Colas, and then I ventured over to the Starbucks in the store, which is a little bit. That was a little bit risky for me because the Starbucks is kind of near where I worked at. So, but my back was facing that way. So I was like really hoping, like, I did not even stare over there. I mean, but um because really I really don't want to see anybody because really when I quit, I mean, there was probably shifts that I probably fucked up the schedule a little bit when I left. Like maybe at least a little bit. I mean, now I was just a new guy, so it's not like I really effed it that bad. Um, you know, but still. So, um, but yeah, that was. But yeah, I really do want to. I really do want to try to get a job. I mean, it's just being home alone, or not really alone. There's sometimes there's people with me, siblings and things like that. But you want to at least have something going on. Working. Say you're, even if it's just showing up at like 3 o'clock or something like that, and working 3 to 9. At least you're getting out of the house, and I don't know, you're getting out of the house, and you have a paycheck coming in, so at least you can afford a sandwich here, and a 12 pack of Coke there. But um man, I should have. I had a choice between going to a different Jewel-Osco location or going to Mariano's, and I should have chose Jewel, but I didn't, and that was stupid. Man. I know I could go back over there to the Crystal Lake Jewel, but I'm going to see how this plays out over at over at um over at this jewel. Um because I might go into to meat market, and because when produce didn't work the general manager, I'm going to say his first name, not his last name, but when Jason said which is odd because my stepdad's name is Jason, so I don't know. I always think about that. I always think about that, but when man, I have this thing on my back. Okay. Um I don't know, pimples or whatever, if you guys were really wondering. Or is this whatever you call that, acne? I think it's more pimple, but anyways, I'm not trying to be weird. But I'm gonna need a drink shortly. I'm by a boxing bag right now, just kind of. Anyways, uh, yeah. So when I couldn't get into produce, he asked me, which thank goodness for the general manager, Jason, because he's definitely helping me a lot by he's literally going to different managers and saying, hey, Curtis contacted me. What do you have them in your department? um, and in produce, which is where I tried to go, and they were so desperate. They were so desperate for people to trust me. I they have like nobody there, and they could have used me. And I was trained. Did in produce manager was like, yeah, no, I don't want them. But the meat, but I told Jason, and I'm just spitting it out here. What about meat market? And there's two reasons I said it. First off, the main thing was that over at Costco, hold on, over at Costco, where's the freaking water bottle over here? The over at Costco, I heard from a reliable source that the meat cutter at Costco makes $75,000 a year. Yeah, so that's from a reliable source. I tried to look it up online, and I wasn't really getting anything that was like close to that. But I did get it from a reliable source. So, and that wasn't even the meat market manager. That's just the meat cutter. So I don't know if the meat market manager makes that, or I think the manager makes about $75,000 too. It's just that the meat cutter is the heart and soul of a whole department. So I think that's why they get near the same. Maybe the manager makes like 78,000. I don't know. But now I'm not planning on doing that for a living, because like I said, I would like to get into the post office. But it's just something. It's a plan B. It's good to have different options. Um, um, yeah, but but yeah, yeah. So I mean, I could go to Jewel. Now I will not be meat cutting like right away. That's just not gonna happen. But what I'm going to start off doing is closing over at Meat Market. I would do that, and then I would kind of work my way in, and I don't know, other stuff. So reason two that I said meat market was that meat market is like right next to produce. So if I'm closing meat market, I can kind of I can kind of still see my peeps a little bit. Um, now what was said was that my grandpa actually said that if you do that and you're talking to produce people, he's just going to tell the meat market boss that you're doing that and you're gonna be fucked. More or less what he said. He didn't say fucked, but and I told him no, this is at closing, and he's like, okay, I'm just saying, oh, closing, Lenny doesn't work mornings, and I'm like, no. I mean, he doesn't work nights, and we kind of understood each other, but I do know what he means. And when I am working meat market and say I have a day off on say Wednesday, and say the produce boss that doesn't like me, he is and say the produce boss is on vacation all week, and maybe I can hop into produce, or help them out on say Wednesday, and fill a guy's shift or whatever, and that's a possibility. I have thought about that, but I would probably tell myself I would not do that for probably 2 or 3 months within my shift, because I need to focus on my own craft, and I can't because they'll be like, if I show up on say day 2 and I'm like, hey, maybe I can hop back into produce, and I say, no, you got to be committed to why you're here, you know. So, I really wish I was able to get into produce, but I guess you can say reason 3 was that I did talk to a meat market employee over there, and I was there long enough to kind of check out what he was doing. I think he was maybe like a year younger than me or a year older than. No, he was a year. I actually don't know. He was around my age. And he was really cool. He was really chill, and he was and he was, what you call it, uh and I did see what he kind of did over there. I mean, I never thought that I would one day be over there, but it was basically you're over there all by yourself on closings. Um, if you're but is usually you're on solo. Now if you're now if you're now in the mornings, meat market is busy, but at night is probably one of the slowest departments. Some people might some people might come up, once in a bit, but and then produce would actually try to get the person, and things like that. But it is you're in your own world. You can play music in there, close up in peace. You can have a box of cookies, a Gatorade or soda or whatever, and it's your own little workplace, workspace sounds more professional, but I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think when meat market usually closed because produce officially closes at, man, that screen is bright blue. I know produce usually close between 8 to 9. Um, I'm trying to think when meat market did he always leave? I'm really trying to think. I don't know what time meat market usually close. I don't know. Yeah, but if I can't get into Jewel, um if I can't get into Jewel over by my dad's house, I might just try to get into now. Now first I'll make all those 3 calls, but I don't, because I don't want to show up at a new job and then be offered something better and then be like, oh yeah, I know I just started 2 days ago, but yeah, I don't want to do that. What I would probably do is I would work for these guys, until seasonal time, and then I would try to get and then I would work seasonal from September to December or early January or whatever, and then I would try to go back to the whole career thing and trying to get into the postal service or something like that. Yeah, but yep. Yeah, but all I know is that I need a fudging job. Yeah, other news. I'm trying to get a. Where did I put my water bottle? Where did I put my water bottle? I don't think I put my cap on it. This one, they all have caps on them. Oh, I put it over here. Other news. There's this 1969 Ford F100 or F-150, one of the two, and I really want it. And now I wanted to resell it, but I've been looking at this truck for so long. I at least want to test ride it. I mean, test drive it, whatever you want to call it. Now, this person who's selling it, he was selling it for 6,200, and he went down to 4,800 or something like that. And I really want to go for it. The only problem is I don't have the full funds for it. Now I do have somewhat a plan, but I mean, I man, if I was still working at Costco, I wouldn't even have to negotiate. Of course, I would negotiate, but I could just be like, "Yo, so what you got here? Let's make something happen." But now I did get the stimulus check in and things like that, but um, now there is a way I could get it done possibly. Now I have this Luigi Pikachu um box that I bought for like I'm trying to think. It was I bought it for $135, but and then 150 just with the taxes and fees and all that good stuff. But so basically, I spent $150 on the item, and now it's worth like $3,000, or somewhere around there. Uh, so I'm wondering if I can get somewhere near 3,000, somewhere between 2,500 and $3,000, because there's different prices on eBay and stuff like that. But if I could use that money, and then maybe my stimulus check, I don't really want to tap into my I really don't want to tap into my tax return money. But if I could somehow scratch together some money, maybe my grandpa can put in some as a little investment thing. Um, but the guy is selling it now for 4,800, and I don't think anybody has really tapped into um you know into buying this guy's truck. I don't think anybody is interested. At least I think so. Um, but and it's basically been on the market for a while. Um, so it looks pretty clean. This looks like it was this guy's baby truck. You know, that like this truck was like his baby, but he's ready to let go of it. Now, but I don't want to go into I don't want to go into what in I don't want to go into, debate or interrogate. What am I trying to say? Negotiations, unless I have like $5,000 that I'm ready to. Doesn't mean I'm spending $5,000, but I want to be in the mindset that I do have the money no matter what to make this happen. But if I don't make it happen, it's not because I don't have enough money, it's just I don't feel like it's worth it, So but honestly, I would be happy with just taking it for a test run. But the next problem would be where to store it. Um, well, where to store it, and yeah, because at mom's house, the garage isn't even it's filled with stuff. Because you do want to store it inside. At my grandparents' house, not an option. My dad's house, it could be an option, but it's a one car garage. So and nobody's really parking in the garage. So it's just kind of a my dad would probably be like, no, 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 no. So that's another issue. So I that would be a big question. Where would we put it? Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. And where would we put it? Like, I mean, I would be fine with storing it outside if it's a good day, but if it's raining, I don't want it outside. I don't. Um, I mean, it could be possible if I could park it at my dad's garage if for like just on rainy days and be like, hey, it's going to rain, blah blah blah. I need to park it in the garage, and then we can bring it back outside. Um, but then here's another problem: is that my dad, we don't have a lot of parking room over at, because here's the thing. My dad has a work truck and a car. And we live at a townhome, so we don't have a lot of room to park. So, yeah, I'm taking this water bottle now. So, I need to blow my nose. I need to take off the headset. Yeah, but guys, I did not think that it would take me switching subjects here, but and going back to a older subject. I did not think it was going to take me this long to. Actually, it wouldn't have taken me that long. Actually, if I took that dual job, I would still be there. When did I? I think it was in like. It was early to mid January. I think when I was trying for that Crystal Lake dual job because I know when I got laid off from Costco, the first day on January 1st, it was a holiday still, and I was like, do, it's a good day. In the afternoon, I was getting slightly bored, I think, and I'm like, and I'm like, man, do I miss working? And I'm like, no, I don't. This is nice. Then January 2nd, and I was craving for a job. I really was. I was tired from working. Because Costco, they paid well, but if you were a evening merchandiser, the first part of your shift is nice and chill, but closing time, oh man, that's a pain in the ass. But they pay you well there. When you work hard, you get paid hard. I mean, you really do. Um, yeah. So what you call it? But and I should have went right back to Crystal Lake. I should have went right back to Jewel, but over at Crystal Lake. And I really do think that I would still be there. Yeah. Um. But. Yeah, what I really wish was that I really wish that, and I would have thought of Mariano's anyway, but first off, I wish Mariano's hired me for their produce. But I wish that that one person at Jewel, who he left Jewel already, but I wish that because he told me that they offered him 1450, but he didn't take it, and then I show up over at over at um Mariano's, and they're like, yeah, so we're gonna offer you 1150, and I didn't say anything. I should have, But I was thinking, like and I wasn't expecting 1450 because this other guy did have experience, a lot of like retail experience, and especially for produce. But he's but I would have thought I would have been maybe like not 1450, but maybe like 13 or maybe 1275. But all the way down to 1150, I was like, what the fuck? Um, um, uh, but and honestly, it's like I'm trying. It's like what my mom said earlier, and I don't want to talk too loud because my mom's room is like right above. But she told me referring to me and Jeremiah, my brother saying you guys, none of you guys, has jobs and blah blah rent. She brings up rent all the time. My dad never does, and it's like, if first off, it is tough getting rent out of me. I think personally, it's just the way it is because I can hop between 3 to 4 houses because I have my mom's house, I have my dad's house, I have my stepmom's house someone that I'm invited to. She told me. She said I could even live there if I wanted to. Which I think it just depends where I'm at. If I get a job near her house, and I might be like, you know what, maybe. Um, and maybe, I might pay her a little bit of rent. Um, because I don't think I would offer a lot, but I know that she's living by herself, so I'm sure any amount of money would be helpful. I But anyways, and then I also have my grandparents, which I I know I would be welcome, but I would probably be like my mom's house lives so close to my grandparents, like really close. So it would always be like, okay, why are you here and not at your mom's house? And I can say, I just wanted a dog break or whatever. I don't know. But I have 4 places that I can jump to. So it's like I'm never in the same place for too long. If anywhere, I'm at my dad's house. But it's kind of like before you can really get money out of me, I'm only here for like 1 or 2 days and then I'm back somewhere else. So it's really. So I just think bringing up the rent situation, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm not here too long. Like I'm here for like 2 days and then I'm gone. So why would I pay rent? It's like I can understand, maybe picking up a dinner for everybody. I can understand where you would come from that. But yet again, it's like I'm not here very long. So, and to be honest, I don't know if I like it here all too much because I'll just be honest. The family over here is slightly toxic at times, and I and there's a dog here. Or there's a dog here, which yes, he is cute at times, but he can be a furry little bitch. He could be a furry little bitch, I swear. I mean, he likes to chew on the shirt. That dog thinks this place is his own personal restroom. And then I'm expected at times to clean up a pee spot or poo spot, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and it's like, it's just not even worth it, dude. So I don't think it would be worth it to pay rent here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What am I pressing on here? Okay. Um, yeah, I'm not playing any games at this point, but yeah, I'm not playing Madden. I mean, It's just no. It's just I'm probably going to get off shortly. Well, 49 minutes ago I started. Wow. The only time that I would probably is if I am working at the Crystal Lake Jewel, but then at that point, hopefully I have my license situated and I can just drive over there. Um, um, all right. Alright, what's next? I have almost talked about everything. Am I missing anything? Oh yeah, but now me, I'm trying to get a job. I really am. Like I like there's the like and I told my mom the hey she asked me the what and what about you? And she was actually recording because I guess the dog peed in the house on the carpet 3 times. Nobody cleaned it up. And there was a whole fiasco, and my mom got her phone out and started videotaping and asking us why we don't have jobs or paying rent. And I told her that I talked to Jason, and then last name of the Jewel general manager, and she's like, yeah, yeah. What about it? Does does Jason blah blah live here? Does Jason blah blah pay taxes? And that statement didn't make sense because I told her I think he does. I think he pays taxes. I don't know what I don't I don't know where that came from. I mean, just please help me understand. Like, what is like? Why are you asking if he pays taxes? I'm sure he pays taxes. Like she said that. I mean, I don't know if she meant it a certain way. Um, but there is evidence of me trying because I applied. All right, let's get this straight. I applied for 3 different I'm not gonna say where I live. I applied for 3 government local government jobs. I I applied for we still have the Costco thing going. I haven't forgotten about Costco. Let's say that I haven't forgotten about Costco. I applied for I did apply for Trader Joe's. I applied for Steinhoffel's. That was a while back, but there's evidence of me trying. I tried out Mariano's, and I get a lot of, I guess you can say, hate for it. Um, Especially my dad. But the whole Mariano's thing was based off of the principle of, I applied for produce, and then they told me about Drive Up and Go, and then they told me, do you want to do hot foods? And I was never happy about that situation, but I didn't have a job, and I'm like, and I told myself, okay, I'll try it, and I tried it, and I get a lot of hate for quitting that job, and especially my dad, and he's telling me, I'm not going to, it's gonna hurt my resume, and I understand that, but the I wanted to try it. I never really expected to be there long term. So, but I did have a job a little while ago at Mariana's. And currently, let's not forget, I applied for 2 United States Postal Service jobs, two, um, and I am in talks with the Jewel Osco general manager about getting a job there, and I'm waiting for. I got an answer her regarding produce, and that's a no go. But meat market is on the table, so you have to understand that I am trying, and there is things. I'm not just sitting on the couch and doing nothing. Like at times I am, but I am always trying to get a new job and I'm doing stuff. I'm doing a whole lot more than my brother Jeremiah. So I should not I think she should just let me try to figure things out because that's what I'm trying to do. But she should get on my brother, Jeremiah, because I have no idea what's going on. I just gave you a long list of jobs that I have been trying for and jobs that I haven't forgotten about and what is going on currently. Um, but she needs to focus on where Jer is at, my brother, because I don't know what his status is. I think he I think he applied for a job and then he just like lets it go. And I think a lot of times I do not think he has called any companies back and showed interest because I think that is a pretty big way of like getting in the door. Um, but he just kind of lets it go. And I wouldn't be surprised if he got an email back from the company that he applied for and he just lets it go and he's like, "Yeah, no. Uh no. Nah, I'm good." you know. But I mean, and I really told him that if I were you, I mean, I would go to Jewel Lasco where I worked, and I would tell him, hey, give me 12 hours a week. Just give me 12 hours a week. I don't really need a job, but just give me 12 hours a week. I'll come in, get out of the house, make a little bit of money. If I was him, that's what I would do, and they would start you off as a bagger, and I would say do that for a little bit, and I I I I was a fighter, okay. I wanted to get out of bagging and into produce. So I was able to escape bagging and I was able to get into produce. It was within a month and a half. I don't think Jared could do that. I think it would take him probably 9 months for him to get into a different department or bring it up to somebody. Me personally, I would think it would. Yeah, I would go with 9 months, seven to 9 months. Um, now, I do think, actually, I into a different department, but from him going from bagging to a cashier, I think he could probably get promoted to that in 3 months. I think the manager was he hey, I think he's doing a pretty good job. Now they might like his efforts of pushing cards, but I think they will notice and be like, hey, he could definitely cashier for us. Um, but I don't understand how. And he does not want to do Jewel Osco, and I can kind of understand that, but I'm like, hey, just do it for. Well, weather is getting more nice out. I don't know if I mentioned that part, but it's like, dude, just tell Jewel, hey, just give me 12 hours a week, you know. Oh man. But I might end up calling Crystal Lake Produce and be like, hey, I actually think I called you in January. Um, uh, and be like, hey, I think I called you in January. Um, and my name is Curtis. I worked over at the Jewel in Woodstock. I don't know if you remember me calling. Um, I don't know if he would remember me. He's the older fellow. It might ring a bell for him. It might not. But I would be like, uh, I would try to say, I, I'll just apply online like the same thing I did, And see, now what would I want to do? Would I want to be a chunker, or would I want to be a produce clerk? Now, they are two different things. And the thing is, two different jobs, two different times. Excuse me. Now the produce chunker, um, obviously chunks fruit, and they work more like 7 to 3. Now the produce clerk can work in the mornings. I would rather not. And if I was a produce clerk, I would work from 3 to 9. Um, so and now the produce chunker usually gets more hours. The produce clerk closing there is a chance that, I don't know, it's now one thing that I will say is that the produce chunker, does time does fly by pretty quickly, um doing that job, but it does get to a point where you're like, holy cow, it's freezing in here. Um, I remember chunking fruit. I didn't have a problem with it. It was easier at some points. Like if you were working in the morning, you would rather be chunking fruit. You would be rather chunking fruit. But at nighttime, it is really chill closing produce. Um, yeah, I might give the produce. I'll have to think about that. I would probably say I would probably rather close. Um, and if you're working with other teenagers or whatever, and it can start getting fun. I mean, I would probably say I would probably say close. And if you're working 3 to 9, and if they are just like the produce and I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think I would want to work. If I can't get into meat market, I if I can't get into meat market, see, I don't think I want to work for when. See, there's this front end manager that she is pretty nice, I guess. It's just we never got along, and this is why. Well, we did get along in the beginning because she probably realized that first off, out of all the baggers, I was one of the best workers because half of the staff is, I guess, special ed, you could say. And if you have anybody who is somewhat normal, and I was a motivated youngster, I mean, you're definitely getting your money out of them. But the relationship just went really sour when I never wanted to be in her department, and that's probably why. So if I come back, it would be like, So what? So I think I should just do whatever it takes to get a job. Um, I'll see if I can get into meat market and see where that road leads me. If I can't close up meat market in there, and then I get zeros out of the postal service, zeros out of the Costco, I'll see what I can do on getting into produce in in the town where my mom lives. And I would probably ask regarding closing. I would ask regarding closing and if I can close from 3 to 9 and things like that. I'll send the application. Um, I'll send the application in, and then the next day I should actually do that tomorrow. I should send in the application and see where that goes. Then I'll call him on Monday. Alright, guys, I think that's about it. But I really enjoy talking to you guys and just seeing what is going on in my life. And I think it's healthy to do that and get it out there and